and would-be voters should be, everywhere around this place, actually to exercise their franchise. We should not be talking about logistics. We should not be seeing vehicle coming in one by one to pick ad hoc staff here. This is not too encouraging, because those areas are going, around Akure South local government, those areas, the would-be voters, they'll be waiting for them at about this time. So talking about the level of preparedness, this is like a minus on the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission. This is as Akure, the state capital, as I told you earlier. So if they're finding things difficult in the state capital, where the headquarters is just a stone throw here, it's very... So at the end of the day, we'll see maybe they're going to make it up and voters will turn up.
All right, Aya, if you can hear me, let me raise my voice a bit. Before you got to that particular rack, when you were touring Akure South, talk to us about the presence of security, because we know a huge number of security personnel were brought in for this election.
Everywhere we have security, it's like a lockdown. The whole city is on lockdown. You can't access anywhere except you are going to your polling units. So vehicular movement, if you are to move, you are meant to have your election duty card with you, and if you're a journalist, you're meant to have something like this to identify yourself, and some will even go further, that they will need your organization ID card beyond what was issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And as you can see, this card here reads Ayodele Ozubakun, TVC Communication, so they must be able to match up your ID card from TVC Communication with what you have here. So that's how, how serious the security. And you have military men in some strategic points. You have policemen manning strategic points. You have NSCDC manning other points. And as you can see, you have policemen waiting here for this big mega polling units. I'll tell you about the mega voting center. If you are talking about 68, so I expect this place to be filled up by now. So security officers waiting for the electorates, to do their jobs. And as you know, those people that are going to be very close to the polling units, that are the ones with just baton, not the one carrying arms. So to forestall the breakdown of law and order, these ones are the ones that will be with the polling unit. And according to the Inspector General of Police, he has told us that we're going to have 4 of these men around each of these polling units. 4 around these polling units. And if you have 4 around each of the polling units, 68, you can do your mathematics, 68 times the 4 times 68, 4 in each of the polling units. But we are going to see the configuration better, and we're going to see what the IG was talking about better if, every polling unit is active here. As you can see, this polling unit now is not active. It's not active yet. They have their beavers ready. The electoral officers, they're ready. They're on ground. And the open secret ballot space here that is meant for the voting unit is also here. Everything in place, but I can't spot any of the voters around here, and we are still waiting. And I told you earlier, there's big deployments happening around here, so it's a rack, and deployment to every other station around Akure South local government. INEC ad hoc committees members are here. They are with their sensitive and non-sensitive materials, and you can even see some cabmen that were deployed by the commission, actually trying to assist the buses that were engaged for this particular exercise. But ultimately, we expect that the exercise should have kicked off by now, or all the polling units ready, waiting for the electorates right now.
Okay, I will definitely keep tabs with you for more details from Akure South. Let's bring the conversation to the studio now. Anthony, let's get your reaction to, the logistics issue that Ayo just pointed out with regards to what we are seeing there. We are still seeing deployment still happening at this point, and it's already past 8 when the process is supposed to begin in earnest at 8 o'clock.
Well, I mean, what can we say? this is what I was talking about. This is why I think INEC as it stands needs to be overhauled. They seem like minor things, but they're grave things for an institution. You talk about our personal life. These are things that are not even acceptable in our personal life, let alone in the process of an institution. I think we need to rethink it. I think we need an institution that takes punctuality very serious. But above all, that talks about how to make it happen. If you're supposed to start by 8, I argue that you should be set by 7. If for any reason you think it is not possible to start by 8, then don't say you start at 8. Say you're going to start by 9, but say that a week before.
These are part of what makes your integrity.
What makes your integrity, exactly. This is how you start to lose integrity, because, and it's also a way, it's also consideration for users, in this case, citizens and voters. If we truly believe that everybody's worth something in this country and their time is worth it, then you will know that if you tell them by 8, you should be there by 8, because they might have other plans of what to do. You don't waste people's time. I heard you saying earlier on that the elites don't vote because they live it. But who's going to go and do this if they have better things to do with their life? Who is a really busy, productive person that will want to take him or herself through this protest, if not for a deep sense of patriotism and even a deeper sense of understanding that being involved matters?
Right. And that's views from Ubonla, where the governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, has arrived the shores there. Like you can see, boats already prepared. He's getting set to take a trip to cast his ballot in his hometown, Obenla. The governor, obviously warmly received by persons there, said to be his kinsmen or so, but he's preparing to go and cast his ballot when the time comes. So INEC had said that some hard-to-reach areas, sensitive materials rather, had been deployed early enough so as to ensure.
So, you see, two things need to be said, and I want our viewers to take note. Across the country, the places where INEC struggles to reach, the places where we struggle to put schools, the places where we struggle to put, well, we don't even put libraries anymore. By the way, let's try to do some libraries. People hear me.
There are still some libraries.
Yes, but we haven't got enough. We need more. The places where we struggle to put a lot of facilities, have you noticed, their viewers, that somehow election posters manage to get there? No matter how remote and difficult to get. You see, what that tells you that it is doable. I say this, not as a jibe at anybody. Actually, I want you to inspire people to know that these things are doable if we really want to. So maybe INEC needs to learn from politicians how they reach the nooks and corners. And then we all need to learn to that.
But don't they try? They try.
Who?
INEC.
You see, you have to be careful about this woman, viewers, because it is this try business that leads us in trouble. We don't need to try. We need to get it right.
Right.
This idea of saying this person is trying, don't try. Get it right. There is no half. It is full or nothing. That's the way institutions ought to work. Maybe all these materials we are deploying, maybe is a problem. Maybe we should think of going more paperless, so we don't need to deploy so much material.
So you're saying in more technology?
Maybe.
Technology.
Yes, maybe. With the risk, knowing that some people now sit there somewhere trying to get it done. Maybe we need to think it through. And if we can't do technology, we just need to buy alarm clocks for all the people, wake them up at 3 a.m. After all, it's just one time. It's a one-day thing. They're not going to do it for the rest of their life. On that one day, give them alarm clock, give them coffee, and then wake them up on time and get them to start on time.
All right, let's bring it back to Ondo State.
Yeah.
What do you think the people of Ondo State should be looking forward to in terms of leadership?
Well, I hope for them, and I hope they do push for. Ondo State is an area that is rich in human resources and natural resources. Well, let me confess, this talk of natural resources, I've not been a big fan of natural resources.
Let me just put you on hold quickly. We have our correspondent, Sarah Yeku, standing by in Okitikpupa to bring us up to speed. Sarah, talk to us about logistics, deployment by INEC and every other thing. Oh, I can see people around you already. Voters are out. But talk to us what's going on where you are.
Of course, it's been weeks and weeks, months of campaigning for the 17 political candidates, gladiators for this election. And for the people, of course, they have been prepping up for today. And just what you see right now, so I'm at polling unit 017, that's new garage zone at New Motor Park, and 2, that's at Okutukpa local government area of Ondo State. And you see that INEC ad hoc staff are already here. They've been here like since about 7:30, 7:45-ish. They've been able to set up the polling unit area, and what they're doing right now is briefing residents about the mode of operation as it pertains to the electoral process. And so by 8:30, just like the INEC ad hoc staff had said earlier, that they're going to be opening the polls. So what you see right now is people are checking their names on the list, on the sheets along the wall. They're checking their names. We've seen a couple of them coming here to check their names just to see how they can, of course, get their voices heard on election day. And so it's really sunny. This is the Sunshine State, of course. It's really sunny. It's hot. For anybody that is in Ondo State, you wouldn't, for those who are coming as visitors, you wouldn't envisage this heat and hotness. And of course, the sun is really bright. But for the people, it's normal. And so what you see at this motor park is, in this polling unit alone, we're expecting over 1,000 voters will be at this polling unit. This polling unit 017. Over 1,000 of them, specifically 1,095. We're expecting to see them at this polling unit. And earlier on, we saw a particular candidate on the ballot. Of course, is from this particular local government. And we saw him, going around with his supporters, trying to ensure that they do some kind of last-minute canvassing, for votes earlier. Whether that is allowed, we still don't know yet, because according to the law, we're not expected to see any sort of canvassing around the polling unit area on election day. So earlier we saw a particular candidate come around with his supporters, ensuring that voters come out, residents come out to elect the next governor of the state. So for now, you see that the residents are getting set for this election. They are getting to line up because it's almost 8:30 on the dot, and then as immediately it is 8:30, right, election starts immediately. It's 8:30, and so that's what you see, right? After that briefing they had earlier, they've asked the residents to queue up. No demarcation whatsoever. Male and female are on the same queue. You can see the security operative there, ensuring that there is peace and order. And for this election, right, the security operatives have said that they're deploying 22,000 security operatives. And when we're coming in this morning, Veronica, like, the security was watertight at most of the border towns leading to Okutukpa. From Akure to Okutukpa, it took us about 2 hours, more than 2 hours to get to Okutukpa this morning. So at different checkpoints, there were military checkpoints, police checkpoints, NSCDC checkpoints. So it's difficult for anyone who wants to jeopardize or sabotage this process to pass through those numerous checkpoints and get to any of these polling units. So we're expecting that by 8:30, right, election starts almost immediately. The party agents are on hand to ensure that they are monitoring the process closely, because this is a keenly contested election between about 2 or 3 party candidates. Veronica.
All right, Sarah, talk to us. Some of the persons you interacted with, do they have trust in INEC and the process, for fairness and integrity in this regard?
Of course, INEC is hoping to come up with, they are hoping to put up a good show and dot all their I's and their T's and put up a good show today, particularly with the beavers. The beavers has always been a point of question, right? Particularly some persons also sometimes question the malfunctionality of the beavers machine. Some persons will say it wasn't working as we experienced in Edo State. But for today, we're hoping we wouldn't wouldn't see a recurrence of the Beavers machine malfunctioning. Already, you know, they've already deployed, I think, about 4,000 Beavers machine to accommodate the 3,933 polling units. So we're expecting that they have envisaged that there could be some malfunctionalities on the out of the Beavers machine, and then of course they'll have some electoral officers who are on standby, to, of course, attend to these incidents. So we're hoping that we will not see these incidents, a lot of these incidents, because network is a challenge in areas, particularly in the rural areas. For instance, in the riverine areas, network is a big challenge. So we're hoping to see how INEC has been able to strategize or faction out a way that the Beavers machine would not be an hindrance, you know, to this electoral process.
Interesting. Sarah, talk to us. I don't know if you've been able to speak with any of those, the voters right behind you, but what are the people of the state that you interacted with hoping for in the next 4 years from whoever takes the seat as governor?
You know, almost 11 months, would I say, or more than 11 months since Arakunri Rotimi Akeredolu died. No one would have ever seen it or seen this coming, that they wouldn't see Rotimi Akeredolu for this election, of course, putting his mark on this election, because you know that he is a political weight when it comes to the southwestern politics. And so for a lot of them, this is a new dawn for them, having these candidates, although some of these candidates are people know them in the grassroots. In Akure, for instance, you may not have the enthusiasm that we expect to see, but the enthusiasm, of course, we expect to see it from these rural communities. And for instance, Ondo South, for instance, which is like has the second largest number of voters, particularly PVCs collected. For Ondo South alone, the PVCs collected, that's 609,314 PVCs collected. That's out of 673. So like about 90% of those who registered for this electoral process, about 90% of them actually, right, collected.
Sarah, we'll have to put you on hold. We have Olaide Oyewole joining us now to bring us up to speed with development from Ugbonla, where he has gone to tell us what is going on. We saw the governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, you know, heading there to cast his ballot in Obenla. I hope I got that correctly. But tell us, talk to us details of where you are right now. Olaide? All right. Sarah? Yes, you were talking about what the people expect in the next 4 years.
And I'm talking about, you know, and before I go to what people are expecting for the next 4 years, particularly the expectations for the new governor, I'm telling you how strategic this particular senatorial district is. I'm talking about Ondo South senatorial district. The contenders really are from this senatorial district. I'm talking about from the two major political parties. They are from this senatorial district. So all eyes are really not really on Ondo Central, which of course has the largest PVCs collected, number of PVCs collected, but on Ondo South. And this is grassroots politics at play, right? And people are coming out for who they love. And so some of the expectations they had raised is they're hoping to see, of course, the economy of Ondo State transform. They're hoping to see a governor that can transform the economy of Ondo State. Ondo State, of course, you know, is an agriculture-based state. And they're hoping to see a governor that can transform that particular sector and, of course, safeguard the farmers, because they're having complaints of insecurity on the part of the farmers. They are unable to go to some of their farms. Remember the Owo incident, which is, you know, still fresh in the minds of a lot of people in Owo and even in Ondo State. So this particular election is very central, right? It's central to the people. It's close to their hearts, because this is the first time they'll be having one of the political weights, which is Arakunri Rotimi Akeredolu, is not here anymore, but somehow they still love him. And this particular candidate, some of these candidates, particularly contenders, worked with Arakunri Rotimi Akeredolu. So they're hoping that it's going even some of these candidates will inject some of the ideals or ideologies of former Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, particularly. So we're hoping to see how these candidates will fare in today's election. So the expectations are high, and voting has started already, and a lot of people are still coming out from their homes to vote. And like I said earlier, this particular polling unit will be having over 1,000 voters come here to cast their ballots for the next governor of the state.
If you can hear me, Sarah, we need to quickly put you on hold and speak with Olaide Oyewole to quickly speak with us with regards to his journey on the high seas, as it is, moving with the governor who is going to cast his ballot at Obenla. Talk to us, Olaide. What's going on?
Yeah, anything because of the breeze. But like I said earlier, we are heading towards Obenla, the hometown of the governor of Ondo State, in the larger local government. And this trip is supposed to take about 35 to 40 minutes down to his hometown. The governor has left before us, and we are hoping to catch up with him before he gets to his hometown. So when it got to the shore of the river, it was only by people. Because they've been expecting him to arrive. So he greeted the people around and headed to the boat to his hometown, where he's going to cast the ballot. So far, it's been peaceful here in Ondo State, and even on the riverine area, also been peaceful. And we are hoping that we don't know if what has started, where we are going, but hope that when we get there, the governor will be able to cast the ballot immediately he gets to his hometown. So that's okay for now. And we have some of my colleagues there who are also, most of them are, for the first time, are embarking on this kind of journey. So it's important. Here.
Thank you. Olaide, will definitely get back to you for more as we monitor the governor's, he casting his ballot at Obenla. Now, Sarah, it's back to you. You can quickly talk to us. You were still talking with regards to the matter of what the people's expectations are, especially the fact that there are inflation issues. There's also the matter of the farmers looking at what whoever comes in at the end of the day will do with regards to their interest, security, agriculture, and all of it.
It's very strategic, particularly this election, even for Southwest politics, because Ondo State has always been one of the campaigners, of course, for regional politics, right? And this started with, of course, the former governor, Rotimi Akeredolu. And so what we're hoping to see today is people, of course, come out, you know, to show us who they actually want to vote for. I don't know if any of you would like to speak with us to tell us what your expectations are for the new governor. To pass it, Yoruba le ma sọ. Kí lẹ fẹ́ kí governor tuntun ṣe? Oui.
Kí la fẹ́ kí governor ṣe fún wa bí?
Governor tuntun tó máa wọlé, kí lẹ fẹ́ kó ṣe?
Máa ṣe dáadáa fún wa, kó ṣe dáadáa fún wa ni. Kó ṣọ̀nà fún wa. Kó tó gún kó sọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀rọ. Owó school kó sọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀rọ. Gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe tí àwọn ilé tó ti ṣe kọjá yìí ìbàjẹ́ ló ń ṣe wọn ṣe nǹkan kan tó dáa ilé tó ń bọ̀ ìyẹn ló ó lè máa gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì ṣe ju wọn ṣe kò sí wàhálà.
So I'll try and interpret, right? So, of course, they're expecting good roads. When we were coming here this morning, right, we had to drive slowly because of the potholes. That's from Ore, which is like a very popular place along the, you know, southwest road, Ore. From Ore down to Okutukpa, there were a lot of potholes on the road. A very long road, right? But a lot of potholes. So one of the things they're expecting the new governor to do, right, is to give them good roads. good roads, good roads. That's what they're talking about. They also talked about good schools. They're hoping that there will be a reduction in school fees. So all of this, of course, boils down to the economy, how the economy is, and they're hoping that the governor will be able to help them with that. It's a really difficult terrain. I'm talking about the Ondo South Senatorial District, because part of this senatorial district is where you have the riverine communities. This is just a few part of the local government of the senatorial district that is on land. I'm talking about Okutukukpa. That's one of the local governments on land. Most of the communities are riverine communities, and there have been challenges of seeing caution, and we've reported this over the years. I've been here 2018, 2020, 2022 to also report about the seeing caution affecting Ayetoro and those riverine communities, and it is really massive. So I'm very sure a lot of these voters from this senatorial district are expecting that the governor will bring something new and give them a better economy, an economy where they can thrive, an agricultural sector where farmers are safe, where farmers can thrive, where people can go to school at little or no cost, where they can get education at little or no cost. And so that's, what's on the lips of a lot of these voters that are at this polling unit.
All right, talk to us. Are you impressed with the voter turnout and also the presence of security personnel there? Do you think the people are a bit intimidated by their presence? Just talk to us on those two. Hello, Sarah, are you still there?
Yes, I am here. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
Okay, I asked the question. I said, are you impressed with the voter turnout? And also, the other question is the security presence. The security presence. Do you think the people are a bit intimidated by the presence of the police officers there?
So, am I impressed with the voters' turnout? It's still too early to call. So this is just about a few minutes before 9 o'clock, right? And we're already seeing the queue at this particular polling unit where we're supposed to see more than 1,000 voters come out. And while we were coming here this morning, right, we've seen a number of people trying to still go to doing those last-minute trips to some of their communities. Some of them that couldn't leave Akure on time. We still saw some of them leaving Akure early this morning, just to get to their rural communities. So, am I impressed with the voter turnout? Maybe yes. We'll get to know at the end of this electoral process what the turnout for this election has been like. Because for elections that since 2012 and all, there's been a decline, like a steady decline of voter turnout for elections. So we're hoping that because this is a different dispensation, they're hoping because people are more enlightened about politics, they wouldn't sit back at home and just watch TV and watch us like a movie. They would actually come out and be part of this electoral process. And for security, really, the police had said that they're deploying not as much as they deployed for a Edo State governorship election, right? They're not deploying as much. For this election, they are deploying just more than 22,000 police officers, and then add on the NSCC, immigration, and all of the federal outfits for this election. So it's and they do not even want to tell us the specific number. When we asked even the army, the military, they're not giving us a specific number. When we asked about flashpoints, they're not talking about the flashpoints. They're silent about it. And I think it's also to help people come out and vote, right? They do not want people to be intimidated by the number of security personnel they will see. And that's the message they're trying to preach. That's the message they've been trying to preach all through the week from their stakeholders meeting, right? To talk about the fact that if you see all of these policemen, they are here to safeguard you. And when I asked the DIG in charge of elections, right, that's DIG Sylvester Alabi, that why are they not talking about the flashpoints? He has said that they have already conducted a comprehensive threat analysis. They know where the flashpoints are, so I should not be worried. The people should not be worried, right? The policemen, the army, and all of the security operatives are there to safeguard the people and the politicians, the people particularly, and of course with the media. They didn't even mention the politicians because they're going to withdraw VIP escorts, right? So they have said that the security officials are there to safeguard the people, and people should not be scared. They should come out and vote. So it's still too early to say that, am I impressed with the turnout? Maybe yes, maybe not, but we're expecting to see more people come out and vote for the next governor. We're also expecting to see people actually encourage themselves. We're expecting to see more people go into homes to canvass, because I'm hearing someone ring a bell, and I know it's some political party, right, trying to get people to come out and vote. So we're hoping to see more numbers today, not in Akure, but in the rural areas.
Interesting, Sarah. It seems people want to just go about their duties, but definitely we'll keep tabs with you for more updates from where you are. Let's quickly move over now to Owo, where we have Ayodeji Morade standing by to bring us up to speed with developments. We hear that voting has begun at Ahmadiyya, but then talk to us. We can see a number of persons or voters right behind you. Tell us how the process has been so far.
Well, Veronica, let me tell you that voting started here at exactly 8:30 a.m. shortly after the presiding officer here manning the election addressed the voters. He told them that they checked the ballot box where the votes will be where the votes will be sorted and everything will be done, that they should look at it, everything is transparent, that they should all conduct themselves in an orderly manner. Now the voting has started and the people are trooping out to be part of the exercise. The deputy governor of the state is expected to vote in these polling units, and the people are conducting themselves in an orderly manner. You can see at my back, we have some of them here who are ready to cast their ballot. And in terms of the functionality of the BVAS machines being used, it is working perfectly, and the people are also conducting themselves peacefully in order to be part of the voting process. So far, so good. It has been peaceful here at Ahmadiyya Secondary School in Owo.
All right, so talk to us. What are the, maybe have a conversation with some of these voters. What are the expectations for whoever emerges winner?
They will be part of the exercise from the beginning to the end. They want to see how the voting will take place and how the people will conduct themselves. And after that, how the votes will be sorted in their presence before the vote will be counted. So they are ready to wait here, and the environment here, we have security personnel who are monitoring the exercise to ensure there is no breakdown of law and order. So it has been peaceful, and the people are conducting themselves also peacefully here.
Interesting. Let's look at the demographics now. I can see more women there than perhaps young persons. Talk to us about the gender of persons right behind you.
Can they come again with the question? I asked the question again because I was distracted by something.
I was saying that talk to us about the demographics in terms of the gender, the women. I'm seeing more women from my end. I can see more women than men or youth present there. But when you look at the numbers we were given by INEC, youth seems to make the higher number of persons who have gotten their PVCs. But with the representation right behind you, the women seem to take the day.
Yes, you are correct. If you see the people behind me, you see that we have many women than men, and also we have many youth. According to the statistics released by INEC, over 1.2 million male voters we have in Ondo State, higher than the female. That with female, we have 1.1 million female voters here, according to the INEC statistics. But with the current situation we have in here, I can see that we have many women who are here to exercise their franchise. We also have some youth, most especially youth. And let me tell you about what is also happening here. You know, we have 18 political parties participating in this election, but only 2 agents are seen here, 2 agents are monitoring the election. Other political parties, 16 other political parties, do not provide agents at this polling unit. And so the voting is going on, and we have many women And we also have the aged who came here to participate in the election. They were given preferential treatment because of their age. They were allowed to move to the front to go and cast their vote so that they wouldn't wait endlessly before they cast their vote.
Yeah, well, it's a good one that they are giving preferential treatments to the aged. But did INEC make provision for persons living with disabilities? And it also make provisions for in case, there's a change in weather?
Well, in this particular polling unit, there is no provision because you can see they are under the trees voting, and there's no kind of shed where they can go to if there is rain is falling or the sun is too much. But with the situation, I've not seen a PWD person living with disability here for now, but they may come later to come and vote. But with the present situation of things, I have not cited just one person.
All right. We can only hope that the process goes smoothly, but talk to us about the conduct of security personnel at the polling units. How are they conducting themselves alongside the voters?
I have 4 police men here who are manning this place to ensure that there's no breakdown of law and order. And these security agents, other security agents are also staying. But what they are doing is that they are ensuring that there is peace and that people are doing what they should do in the right way so that there will be no problem at these polling units. And they are conducting themselves also in a peaceful manner.
All right, we'll definitely return to you, Ayo, for more updates from Owo to get anything happening from there, but then we'll get back to you. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. Let's quickly have a conversation in the studio now. We've gotten details from Okitipupa, that's Ondo South. We've gotten from Owo. We've seen that voting has begun in earnest. People are on the queue. But from what you saw from the various points, what can you say about this process?
Well, I think for me, that's expected. I don't expect a very large turnout in this exercise, and I expect it to be peaceful because there is no major grouse, for not for confrontation. I think it's going to be peaceful exercise. Touch wood, you say that, then they try to disgrace you. I hope some people will not go and make it violent just because I said it will be peaceful, just to prove me wrong. But I think more importantly, it is those who, after today, whoever wins, that we should be appealing to have a good program for the state. Ondo State is a place full of potentials, and it's quite low on outcome. But if you tap into that potential, it's a state that becomes truly great. I believe the central point should be people development. If you think of developing your people, you will understand the need to create the right infrastructure that would allow people to move, to be able to...
You saw the demands.
The demands, exactly. So, it's not very difficult to know the demands.
The demands are basic, actually.
They're very basic, exactly. Yeah. And it's a shame, they were still talking about these things that we've been talking about since 1979, perhaps even before then. But, we're where we are. I think any governor can just dust up the manifesto of 50 years ago and they'll be fine. It's still roads, education, health. If you can do those things, they'll be fine. But the good thing is that if you get those basic things right, a lot will happen. If you develop people and you give them the possibility to be able to trade, learn, love, and even worship so that they can move and make things happen, a lot will happen. There is in the country now a bit of a problem. How do you finance this thing? I think the challenge for good leadership is the ability to think outside the box.
Right.
And I propose private partnership, that you don't need to wait for money of the state by increasing revenues or waiting money from Abuja. You should use what you have there and try to create some competitive advantage. So, for example, we say Ondo State is a rural area primarily known for agriculture.
Yeah.
I think the next government and the people should form a social contract in which they set themselves apart to say, in the next 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, Ondo State should be known for 10 products across the country and across the world. that they produce enough for themselves and to sell to the rest of the country. You know, they need to think that way. They need to develop, perhaps take health and take tertiary health sector. That is, you know, interventions that are not emergency, that are not primary, and build centers that can serve the region of the Southwest, if not the whole of Nigeria. It could be something for the eye, it could be orthopedics. We have Lagos, let them not compete with what we have. You know, they should look at something that people will go there for.
Agriculture,
good tourism,
yes. It is very key because
yes, exactly.
I recall at some point the Southwest governors met and said, you know what, we need to come together and address this matter,
yes.
Seeing how things are going on in the northeast, northwest, attacks here and there.
Yeah.
We need to work together to ensure that we secure what we can here, because there's something we can contribute to the food basket of the nation. So it's important that perhaps they begin to look in that direction, because inflation for Akure, for instance, for Ondo State, for instance, is at about 37.20%.
Yes.
And that is one of the things the man said that Sarah spoke with, to make things easy.
Easier, that's what he said.
For the people. And that's what a lot of Nigerians are asking.
Beautiful expression you use, Soludero. Make it better. That's you know, to make things better, to make it easier.
Easy, yes.
Ease
of perhaps doing business,
of
ease
everything,
of farming,
ease of living, of trading, of studying, because you also mentioned that education costs are high. So you want to give access to education. Without access to education, there's little or no development possible. Because even the basic of artisanry needs some form of education, especially now that technology is required. So we must take the binomium of health and education very serious. You know, you don't want people to be educated and dead. And you don't know my life but dull.
The number of out-of-school children in Ondo State is about 240,000.
That's a lot.
That's a huge number.
A huge lot.
That's a huge lot.
But the thing is, you said something that got my attention. You said any governor or any politician can just speak the manifesto in the 50s.
Yes.
And
I'm wondering why the 50s.
Exactly. But the point here is politicians, most of the time, when they campaign, their manifestos will do this, will do that, and nobody holds them to account. Even though they have the intention to do it, but do they even have implementation of those things? How can we begin to hold them to account, apart from going to the ballot?
Well, I think two ways. The first thing is, whilst they're campaigning, let us keep asking them two questions. When they talk, let us ask them how and when.
Maya Angelou was a civil rights activist.
They say, don't steal, don't lie, but they know the church is full of liars and, you know, and adulterous.
Believing that one day
adulterous people. Knowing that one day they will stop it. You know, we just need to keep saying it. Then when they're in power, we then need to keep monitoring the thing, reminding them that you said to us that this will happen in 6 months' time. You know, this is month 2.
Yes.
How are we going to get there? I think that's the kind of way to make it happen.
But are the people that are aware to hold the leaders to account?
Yes. Are the people that are aware? Well, most of us are not aware, but the few that are aware, that have the... You see, the society that develop, whether it's a club, an organization, a state, a country, or a community, societies that develop are the ones that allow those to have the clarity of mind and the courage of voice to excel. And that's what we really need. You know, we need people who can have that awareness, then lead others or act on behalf of others. It's not
we have that. We have those people, don't we?
Yes, we have you and him, but we need more. And
okay, so they're just few.
They're just few. And then it has to be a system thing. You know, it has to be a system thing. So, for example, we need for a governor, or candidate rather, whilst campaigning to say that I am going to do X, Y, Z.
Yes.
And we ask him the when and how question. We could diarize it that, okay, if this guy wins, in 6 months we should expect this.
Okay.
All right. We have our correspondent, Ibrahim Alege in Kilipo, standing by now to bring us up to speed with developments out of there. Ibrahim, talk to us. I believe that the process has begun, but what are you seeing?
Yes, Veronica, this is Ward 2 in Kiribo, that's in Eseodo local government area of Ondo State, where a former deputy governor of this state Mr. Gola Ajayi is expected to cast his vote. Of course, on our way from Akure to this place early this morning, of course, we met a lot of security checks. People have to be checked appropriately. And I must report that while monitoring the election on the way to this place, the voting materials and the INEC officials actually arrived on time. And as you can see here, people have started, casting their votes. The accreditation started on time, and people, are orderly. It's been so far so good, and the expectation is that more people will come out. But one interesting thing again that I observed while coming was that we had some people going to their farms, some are even at their construction site, and of course we saw some people at their worship centers. Apparently these were not ready to possibly go for the election. And when you look at the election since 2012 in Ondo State, the turnout of voters, has been decreasing. Since 2012, we had 39% of registered voters who cast their votes. But the last election, we had just 35%. So that means this thing is going down gradually. But the advocacy has always been that people should come out to, exercise their franchise. So we hope that people will be able to heed this advice and come out to exercise, their rights.
And also talk to us. You mentioned some persons going to their farms, going to construction sites. The persons you've interacted with, do they have trust in the process? Do they have trust in the electoral umpire? And secondly, have you seen or heard incidents of breakdown of machines, beavers and all, the machines working, effectively?
Because as at the time I got here, Beavers was working perfectly, and even up till now, people are still there. The Beavers machine is working perfectly, at least where I've been able to, to check. And for those who, decided to go to their farm, to their construction sites, and even to their worship centers, they have their mind. I don't know whether they don't trust the system or what, but of course, if you want Nigeria to be good, if you want Ondo State to be good, you'd have to come and exercise your franchise, so that at the end of the day, you not say that this is not the person that I want, because you have to participate in it in order for you to have any right to complain about the kind of leaders that you have. So this has been the advocacy that so many NGOs, the media, and of course some political actors have been advocating the fact that the people have to come out to exercise their franchise. So it's still early days. We are expecting that, as time progresses, more people will come out, and hopefully they may be able to exceed, the not too good impressive turnout that we had in the last election.
All right, give us a sense of the voters, talking about their demographics. I can see a number of women, although some of them are under the shed there, so we cannot necessarily see who they are, whether they are men or not. But talk to us about the turnout of young persons who make a huge number of those who collected their PVCs.
Yeah, according to the statistics from INEC, women constitute 49.6% of PVC collectors in Ondo State. Of course, men have 50.4%. But in spite of these, you still have them, a lot of them are here, just to cast their votes. And this has been the advocacy by so many women groups that we have 18, political parties participating in this particular election, but no woman is a governorship candidate. We only have one woman who is a deputy governorship candidate in this election. So they are calling on political parties, different political parties, to ensure that they give women the chance. Some of them will, queue under the sun in order for them to cast their vote for their preferred candidate. But when it comes to representation, in governance, they are nowhere to be found, especially when it comes to elected positions. And part of the statistics released by some of these NGOs, is the fact that in Ondo State, you do not have any female House of Assembly members. So they want this to change, despite the fact that they participate actively in election. They have 49.6 PVC collection rates. Unfortunately, there's no representation. They don't have any female representation in the House of Assembly. And of course, the governorship candidates, none of them is a female.
All right. Ibrahim will definitely keep tabs with you for development out of Kiribo, where you are. Thank you for bringing us up to speed. Let's bring the conversation to the studio now, where we still have Anthony Kila, Professor to talk to some of the things that he has pointed out. Women representation. We've always spoken about the 35% affirmative action, and then when it comes to elections like this, we see how women are at the forefront of campaigning, you know, pushing the narrative, and the men ride on the backs of the women to, you know, push their campaigns. But here we are having seemingly no representation of women coming out as a candidate, but he said we have a deputy governorship representation there. But talk to us, really. Is this about tradition? Is it culture? Why are we not making a headway, seemingly?
Well, I think it's a bit about culture and tradition, but also a bit about the process of politics, the way politics is practiced in Nigeria. It's not very woman-friendly, at least not friendly to married women with children. Let's put it that way, because, you know, they have meetings at night and they do some strange things, which it's not very friendly to women, at least family women in particular. We have to be factual. And I think that needs to change. But here's the thing. Let me shock you and say something unpopular, which I know a lot of people don't like to hear. I am not for affirmative action. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in affirmative action. I don't believe in turn by turn, or what's it called in Nigeria, the zoning thing, you do, me do. I believe in pure merit. And I think if you believe in female representation, the way to do it is not by law. I think women should vote for women.
Women supporting women.
Yes, it's a very straightforward thing. If you believe that it matters, then you should vote that way. I don't believe that it matters, because it is good. It is a good idea in principle, you know, in our hearts. There's something that just feel good to say, oh, let's put more women, let's put more people. You know, it's a feel
So it
good.
should not be about sentiment.
I think I like sentiment. It's not even sentiment. It is feel good thing. I don't like to call it sentiment. You know, when people want to do bad things, they say, let's not be sentimental. I say, let's be sentimental always. I'm always sentimental. It's just a feel good thing.
Okay.
But if you look at it, raw data, and I concede your expression, let's not use sentiment. If you consider raw data, there is no proof in Nigeria that where you've put women, there's been less corruption or more competence. You know, there's no data to back that.
It doesn't mean that it hasn't happened.
It doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. So the desire to say, oh, let's put more women because they will steal less or act better. Oh, we've seen what they've done.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
But I believe, though, that if people feel strong about it should be negotiation and action.
But
this idea of doing it by law, yes.
The political parties.
Yes.
Can't they? It's always so hard for the women to get there.
Yeah,
to
why?
get the vote, so, you know, in
The buying of the parties.
Yeah, the buying of the parties.
Well, that's it, because the people choosing think they can get away with it. You know, if all of a sudden, I think, you see, our idea, this is our barbarism. We always think we should look up to the people on top to make things happen for us. If the people look at themselves...
They will be influenced, don't they?
So I have another strategy for women. Look at yourself and say, sisters and friends, let's not vote for any party that has no women. That way, you're doing a demand-led innovation, i.e., you're demanding for it.
Okay.
But you're demanding for it not by begging. You're demanding for it by holding your vote and your consensus ready. Say, let's wait for them.
And standing by.
And say, we're waiting for you. Don't bring women, you don't get our vote. You will see that politicians will change immediately. If they see that the path for them to get vote is by putting women. I argue that the reason why they can do so now is because they know they can get away with it. I have a couple of daughters, and I'm teaching them something already that if you're very keen on this, put your money only where there are women. I say to them, you want to open a bank account? Do you want a woman to be a board member? Go and look at their members on the board. If there's no woman, don't bank with them. If you're so keen on it. I think the democracy that works is where people take ownership of their life.
I agree.
It is not this idea of saying, oh, let's do affirmative action. Oh, why aren't politicians giving women slots? No. If women feel so strong about it, and I say this thing, it's a bit complex because I consider myself a feminist and a very committed one. But I believe, like every sector of the society, whether it's young people, whether it's women, that I'm committed to, I believe in responsibility and action, not affirmative action. I believe that people have to be proactive. You need to show the people you want something from why they should give you, not tokenism, not, riding on the feel-good feeling. I think if women are keen about it, they need to mobilize.
But I think it's not easy for the women.
Good things are never easy.
Yeah, good things are never easy. Especially in the Senate. In the Senate, the lawmakers, I wish we could have more lawmakers that would support the women looking at this issue of affirmative action that she talked about.
You want this affirmative action?
Yeah, I really...
They will like you. You'll be getting claps. They will prefer you to me.
I really do. I have a wife at home because if I don't, it might not be so nice when I get home.
You have to
impress. Let's also look at the matters raised. At some point, one of our correspondents told us that, yes, there are 18 political parties, but then party agents' representation at the various polling units, especially where he was, he didn't get more than 2. I wonder what he said to that, because at the end of the day, we are hoping that maybe they will come in later on, because that could foment trouble at the end, because they are supposed to monitor the process. So let's look at the party involvement, because we expect that they should have been there right from the beginning to see how INEC is following through the processes, so that there wouldn't be issues of gaps here and there where they begin to say, oh, this happened because our candidate is in this polling unit, that's why it didn't begin here, and all of those stories that we get. Right.
So 2 things there. 1, fact, they're late. They're not there. That's a fact.
Yeah, they are not there.
No matter how we say it, no, we can't argue with that. They're late. Hope they might come later. But like everything, they might even not come. Maybe they don't exist. So the issue of competence and presence is already at stake here. A party that cannot organize itself to have enough agents and be
on the
ground is not worthy of ruling. It's as simple as that. Maybe they're unlucky, maybe they're incompetent, maybe they don't have enough people. Maybe today is not their day, tomorrow shall be their day, the young shall grow. But for now, they're not.
But you need money for things like that.
Yes.
Some of them might not even have the financial wherewithal, to be able to sponsor agents,
And so what should we do? Well, they should stay at home. I mean, what's this thing? So what should we do? We should feel sorry for them. No, you see, we say
some slack is what I'm just saying.
Here's some slack.
He's not saying cotton to cut.
He wants to cut slack. That is the origin of our problem. We can call them slack, but what should we do? Maybe they shouldn't have formed the party if they're not ready for it. Or if they form the party, they should know their reality, that they're not ready for the big game yet. And maybe they should merge with other people.
Okay.
Maybe they should think of cool. You see, the thing is, we have to find a way to be rational in our actions. And even sentimental. It's not about not having sentiment. Our sentiment should lead us to the right movement. Sentiment, I want to be a good graduate. Reason, let me study hard. Sentiment, I feel like playing. Reason, it is better I study so I can pass. Sentiment, I want to change Nigeria, so I'm going to form my party.
Okay.
Reason, I don't have enough support. What is the right to do? Let me go and do a coalition, openly, of like mind. We need to reason that way. You started on by talking about accountability. Accountability starts before getting into power. It is by calling out parties who are shouting party, but they're not really parties. Leaders who are calling themselves leaders, but they're not really leaders. It is by calling them out in the process. You see, we all think democracy is an end point. It is not. Democracy is a process.
It's a process.
And it is in that process, step by step, when we get it right or wrong, that we find ourselves in the wrong place. You see, we need good politicians, we need good institutions, but I also need what I defined as ANC in Nigeria, the Association of Non-Contenders. We need people who are not interested in partisan politics, but enjoy to see a good process work.
That would be interesting, because I will need for you to expatiate on that. With the kind of politics we practice here, I don't know. But let's quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue our conversation here. To stay with us.
At Nile Online, your journey to excellence begins, bridging the gap between traditional and digital classrooms. Nile Online brings the Nile University experience to you. Interactive learning at your fingertips. Discuss, debate, and grow with peers and professors online. With Nile Online, your education fits around your life, not the other way around. Learn effectively from your home, during breaks at the office, or while on the move. Dive into a variety of programs that cater to your passion and career aspirations, from executive MBA to digital marketing. Empower your future with accessible and secure education. Nile Online is your path to success. Join Nile Online today. Shape your tomorrow.
Hello, TVC Communications. How can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio station, captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. And on TVC Digital, we reach to million viewers daily. All together, pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707-272-8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
Akiwande Oluwole Soyinka was born on 13th July 1934 in Abeokuta, Nigeria, to parents Samuel and Grace Soyinka. His education began with the Christian lessons of his parents, as well as the more traditional Yoruba spiritual customs taught to him by his grandfather. He had his preparatory university studies at Government College Ibadan in 1954, subsequently University College Ibadan, and he continued at the University of Leeds, earned a bachelor's degree in English literature. Soyinka's master's degree focused on projects combining his Yoruba culture with traditional British theatre traditions. He later returned to school in Nigeria to study African theatre, during which time he continued to produce poems and plays, one of which appeared on Nigerian television. Shortly after, he became the chief of the Cathedral of Drama at the University of Ibadan. Nigeria had only recently gained independence from Britain and political corruption was at a high. Soyinka's plays and poems became increasingly political and he began giving speeches protesting government corruption. He was accused of conspiring with the Biafra rebels. He was therefore arrested and imprisoned in 1967 for almost 2 years during the Civil War, but managed during his time to write numerous poems. He was finally released in 1969 after a brief period in France. He returned to his position at the university where he founded the magazine Black Orpheus. He left his position and Nigeria in 1971, wary of the political climate of the country. During this time, he published books of poetry and essays. His plays were collected and published, and newer plays were staged. In 1986, he was the first African to win the Nobel Prize in Literature for a wide cultural perspective and with poetic overtones fashioning the drama of existence. He dedicated his acceptance speech to Nelson Mandela and used the platform to criticize apartheid. Later that same year, Soyinka was awarded the Ajib Prize and in 1988 published his book Mandela's Earth and all the poems as well as art, dialogue, and outrage essays on literature and culture. He also accepted a position at Cornell University. Throughout his life, he has served as a spokesman against apartheid and government corruption. He has won numerous other awards for his work, including the Anisfield Wolf Book Award, the Academy of Achievement Golden Plate Award, and the Ajit Prize for Literature. And he has taught at many prestigious universities, including Emory University, Harvard, and Obafemi Awolowo University. In his lifetime, Soyinka has published 2 novels, 3 collections of short stories, made 3 movies, translated 2 novels, 5 memoirs, 7 poetry collections, 13 essay collections, and produced nearly 30 plays. He holds honorary doctorates from numerous universities and has been invited to teach in schools around the world. He continues to write prolifically in spite of a bout with prostate cancer in 2014. Wole Soyinka, the Nigerian playwright and political activist, has positioned himself as a voice of the voiceless through his piece of art. He has distinguished himself as the African icon that continuously makes a mark in African literature and the world at large.
In the month of November. On the 2nd of November is the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists. On the 14th of November is the World Diabetes Day. On the 17th of November is the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims. On the 18th day of November is the World Day for the Prevention of the Healing from Child Sexual Exploitation, Abuse and Violence. On the 19th of November, it is the International Men's Day, and it is also a day to mark World Toilet Day. On the 21st of November is the World Television Day. And finally, on the 25th of November is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Stay tuned to TVC News for this reports and analysis.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
Looking for advice.
Interesting conversation behind the scene, but thank you for joining us again. This is our special coverage of the Ondo governorship election, where we have our correspondents scattered across the state, bringing us up to speed with developments there with regards to the election. So far, we have had reports that voting process has begun in Owo, Ondo South, and also some other areas there where our correspondents have been bringing us details of how the process has been going on. And the people are already making some demands, what their expectations are of whoever takes office. They want good roads, they want quality schools, and perhaps a reduction in fees. And so they also want that things are made easy for them when the next governor takes over the reins of office. We still have our guests in the studio, Professor Anthony Kila, Director, Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies, here still speaking with us. Thank you for still staying with us.
Good to be here.
Now, there was something you mentioned earlier on I want you to expatiate on before we went on the break, because it was an interesting point, and I believe that there are those who would want to hear more of your perspective with regards to that. You were talking about people should be more focused on a good process as against partisan politics.
Yes.
But we know how we are, and I was saying in this part of the world, what thrives here is partisan politics. So when you're talking about good process, partisan politics, saying good process outweighs partisan politics, how do you mean, and how does that improve on our democratic process and even our democracy that we call as being nascent, so to speak?
So let us start by admitting that, be it the passion for process or the passion for partisan politics, is an acquired taste. Nobody's born one way or the other.
Right.
We just have to decide which one really benefits us. You see, there's an illusion where millions of people identify themselves with a party or a person, especially during election time. They argue about it, they talk about it. But in reality, of these millions of people, it's only thousands that actually benefit truly. So individuals should look at them and say, really, what is my real benefit in this deal, in this system? Is it having somebody who looks like me or prays like me or speaks like me that really benefits me, or having a good road and a secured place? Once you decide one of those two, if having somebody that speaks like you or looks like you or you know personally is what benefits you, by all means, I'm not a moral thing for that kind of thing. By all means, go for that, fight for that, if that is what benefits you. But if what benefits you is that regardless of who is there, is having a good road, having a safe place that benefits you, make sure you go for good road and safe place as well, above whoever is there. That's the reason. Now, to get those things that benefit you, you now need to look at the process. And step by step, if somebody says something that you like, find a way to find out how and when they're going to do it. If somebody does something that you like or you don't like, find out if they're following the right law, guidelines to do what they're doing. Because it might be them today that you like, tomorrow it might be something you don't like, or somebody you don't like. And if they set up a precedent, you're going to be in trouble. You see, the thing about process is that it is acting right today for the sake of tomorrow. So that where you stand today, regardless of who is in front of you or who is facing you, you can always chart that right course. So if we embrace the process, we'll make sure regardless of who is there, things will be fine. Because there's something we forget about human frailty. The idea of identity, of linking ourselves to one person, thinking that if we get this person in power, everything will be right.
Exactly.
It's a very dangerous thing because that person might turn out to have deceived us. One, that's even a bad one. That's intentional. But unintentionally, that person might get there and become mad or be possessed by some spirit that is different from what we had before. That person might go there and go rogue. But if we trust our process, regardless of what the person has said, that we said, no, okay, whoever you are, this is the way we do things, and let's all agree, then, we're going to be fine. That's the joy of process. It guarantees us against human frailties. It saves us from discretion. It saves us from, acting in caprice or whims of anybody.
All right.
That's the joy.
Let's get back to the field now, and we have Sarah Ayeku, who is in Ondo South, Okitipupa, precisely to bring us up to speed with so far so good with the process, what developments we have that you can tell us, Sarah. Bring us up to speed. What more do we need to know at this point?
It's very interesting developments, Veronica. So I'm just along Okitipupa. I'm still in Okitipupa local government, particularly in polling unit 010, which is Olaleye quarters, I can understand. So this is one polling unit where one of the candidates, governorship candidates, who had already voted. But before I bring him on to talk about some things have been happening at this particular polling unit, right? Security personnel have been having a difficult time managing the crowd at this particular polling unit. So you see that initially, when we got here, at some point, we saw that the police was trying to calm the people down and calm the party agents down as well. But let me bring on someone who can really tell us what happened, a couple of minutes ago. He's a domestic election observer. So talk to us about what you've seen here today, what you've observed at this particular polling unit.
Well, I'm Dr. Prof from the International Synergy of Advocates for Global Peace and Development Initiative.
Can you tell us your name again?
I'm Dr. Prof from the International Synergy of Global Advocates for Global Peace and Initiative Development.
What you've seen here today?
Yes. This ward, Olaleye quarters in Okitipupa, so there's some tensions that generated here as a result of some people. They said they agreed with their consent that when they cast their vote, after voting, they should show them the paper.
let me understand you right. There was a consensus, an agreement between some voters and party agents to display the ballot paper after they've cast, after thumb printing, right?
After thumb printing. So there were some agreement between some members of the parties that immediately after voting, after thumb printing, they should display the paper to them, the ballot paper. So thereby derailing the voting process. So the security, they were handicapped and nothing comes up for solution. So we decide to advise them not to come on that. There's nowhere it's done in the whole world that when somebody's from print, they will not show it to everybody. The ballot paper that look, that there's nowhere it's done. That they should not, that consensus they've agreed on is completely zero. So they should not such a thing. They should not do such
First
a thing.
so let's get to what you've observed so far. I know that the election is still too early to call certain things. Talk to us about the preparation of INEC towards today and how you've seen them fared. You know, election time, did they start on time at this particular polling unit and at this ward? And what were your observations? And what do you think they can improve, you know, in their operations?
But in this polling unit, in Olaleye quarters, Unit 2, Ward 10. At the starting, the material arrived here around 7:30 a.m. And the procedure, the process, we are just going on smoothly before this argument of thumb printing and showing the paper, the voters' paper to them started. Now, even as I'm talking to you now, there is a lot of chaos. There are people to go and vote now, they find it difficult because they are trying to ratify what led to the argument. So that is just all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So from what you see right now, so before now we had these two tables, right? And then people were queuing behind the two tables. But now we've seen that they've moved forward. They've even moved the ballot box away from where it was stationed before now to a more enclosed area so that people do not have to show their ballot paper. We're trying to get the candidate of one of the parties, political parties, is come with us, Shegun, come with us. We're trying to get him to talk to us. Of course, he's not happy with the process because he has his own reservations. But when we spoke with one of the voters earlier, he says it's his vote. He can decide to show whoever he wants to show his ballot paper. And so we're hoping to get him talk to us briefly. We see that they're trying to settle. Some party agents and security operators are trying to speak with and get a consensus really as to how this process can move on. Let me see if I can get him. 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 We're live on TV. We're live on TV. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. This is Mr. Akimbola. Is no mention of parties. Let's be very civil. Let's be civil. Let's be civil. Let's be civil. So we will first talk to one of the governorship candidates for this election. Let's just step back a bit.
I finished voting. I sat down there and decided, is that telling them to vote for APC? Is that the way?
No, so we're not going to mention political parties, sir. Let's just stick with the issues. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. You just voted. A minute, sir. A minute, sir. So that it can be orderly, right? You've just voted a couple of minutes ago. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. Just step back a bit so that we can get you.
I voted here about 10 minutes ago.
Step back a bit, sir.
I voted here as a candidate 10 minutes ago, and I started somewhere there. And when the APC came in here, listen, I have to mention, and they started telling them to go and vote for APC. Is that the way we want to work?
We cannot mention the name of parties, sir. We can't mention the name of parties, sir. All right, just go ahead.
Some group of people came in here and started telling them where to vote to. It's not proper. It's not proper.
What would you like to see happen in this case?
What I want to see is that orderliness, we need it here. If you finish your vote, leave where you finish voting and sit somewhere else. You understand me? That is it.
But what really is the contention?
The contention is that there are some group of people telling the other group where to vote to.
They are telling the voters?
Yes, where to vote. They will show them and they are paying them somewhere there.
Do you have evidence for that?
Yeah.
Do you have evidence?
Yes. They are there with POS there. They are paying them. They are paying them.
Do you think that with that you don't stand a chance for this election?
I stand a chance. I stand a chance. Everybody here want to vote for me, but they are trying to swing it.
So this is what is happening. He is the political governorship candidate for the SDP. That's Mr. Akingbola, Bamidele Akingbola. Yes, that's who he is. And so he has just told us what his concerns are about this election. So what you see now is that there are two queues, right? One for males, the other for females. No elderly, but they're all queuing on the same line. And so you see that before now we had the ballot box in this area, before these tables. But now, since they had that argument earlier on, they've moved the ballot box inside that area. So now you don't have to come out to thumb print. You thumb print at that area, and then you cast your ballot. You put your ballot paper in the ballot box. So that's what's going on at this particular ward. That's a polling unit 010. That's at Olaleya quarters in Okitopa local government.
I just want to quickly ask, when all of this were happening, what was the security, or what were the security agents doing to resolve whatever matter or the chaos that happened?
So the reason it's not being worse, the reason we still have some level of sanity in this place, the reason we still have that is because we see the officers trying to placate, trying to calm the people down. The party agents specifically, they're trying to calm them down, trying to make them understand the process, the electoral process, trying to also, talk to the people who are party supporters, who are also voters. They're trying to talk to them. Is this your queue? Yes. I thought your queue was on the other side. I thought your queue was on the other side.
Then please maintain your queue. Please, maintain it. Please.
So it's been really difficult for them. I tell you, it's been really difficult for them. It's been really difficult for them to calm the people down. So in this polling unit, I can see 3 police officers, 1 male, 2 females, and 1 NSCDC officer. That's what we see at this particular unit. That's polling unit 0110 Ward 13. And so we're hoping that the people will calm down a bit and then vote for the candidates of the choice. But one thing I really do not understand is how this particular setup is, the election setup. So you see, you have to go under. You have to go under that place when you collect your ballot paper. You come out under the stick, that barricade there. You cast your vote, and then you go back under it to cast your ballot. That's what you see. So I really don't understand this setup. So hopefully the INEC ad hoc staff will be able to get their gear together. But the security operatives are trying their best to ensure that some kind of sanity comes back to this particular polling unit. So we see that there's a bit of calm around. People are just watching, really watching, like they're out with their phones and just watching to see if anything happens in this polling unit.
I saw you were trying to speak with that particular man there that joined the queue for women, because I know you mentioned earlier that there was the queue for women and the queue for men, and I'm wondering what he's doing in the queue for women.
He identifies as...
I don't understand. I was trying to ask him. He was telling me that's his queue. But you can see around here, right? He's the only man on this side. I really don't know what it's doing. He's the only man on this side. Mommy. So there is no consideration for the elderly. So, Daddy, okay, so this is, he said there is no gender differences at this particular polling unit. So they're all my wives. He said they're all his wives. So that's why he's standing with the women. Veronica.
Sarah, talk to us. Has there been any incidents of beavers malfunctioning? Or has the process been smooth so far?
in the polling units we've visited, we've not heard any kind of incidents of beavers malfunctioning. So it's working. Shagun, just let them see the beavers work. So you see the INEC ad hoc staff there. That's Assistant Presiding Officer 1 using the beavers machine over there. So as against what we used to have before, where the elderly cannot, the beavers does not recognize the elderly. It's not doing that. It's working perfectly well for these particular polling units. Even in the previous polling units we're at, it was working well. But in this place, right, it's just for the political parties, the agents, the supporters. We're hoping that they will just calm down because they're seated at this side, right, and just watching whatever happens at the voting area. So you see them seated at this side. There's a policeman there trying, of course, to talk to them and ensure the candidates, right, that particular candidate I spoke with, like that's Mr. Bamindele Akingbola, is ensuring that he's telling him to try and speak with his supporters so they can calm down, so that this electoral process can be peaceful.
All right, Sarah, I was asking earlier about persons with disabilities, but we'll definitely come back to you for more updates with regards to that. Let's get back to the studio now to perhaps look at some of the issues that was raised in that polling unit in Okitipupa, talking about people voting and then showing. It's supposed to be a private process, and that is against the law as it is. So I'm sure INEC is monitoring what is going on, and but then we'll get your perception to it. And then there was accusation of vote buying as well.
Yes. Well, I think we go back to the process thing. You know, when we talk about process, the passion of the process makes you see the roles of individuals and entities in the whole process as well. You know, man is born out of sin and lives in iniquity, or something of sort is a famous quote. We have to assume that for everything we do, there will be some people who will try to bend the rules for their favor. It is therefore the duty of those in charge of the process to make sure that they don't succeed. I think INEC, you said that in it's private. It's even more than private. It's actually secret.
Secret.
INEC needs to find a way to make sure it is secret. That there is no way. I think the INEC of the future needs to start to think in a way that let us make it impossible for anybody to show others their vote. How do we do it? Let us close ourselves into a room for 10 hours and look at all the scenarios of making sure that people cannot show their vote. Let us make sure that people cannot pay for vote. You know, we need some strategic thinking. Again, you need people who have passion for the process and the result. Maybe they should, not just the result, just the process. Maybe they should hire supporters of Arsenal who are used to not winning. So that they just sit there.
I'm a Chelsea fan, but...
okay, so you feel
but let's not go there.
Let me look for those kind of people who are used to just enjoying the process and sit down and keep thinking, how can we? You know, I think, again, our intellectual class, maybe our universities, you know, our schools of public policy, maybe just send out a competition out there to say, let us reward somebody that can come with the best process.
The best idea.
To say, how do we stop people from buying votes? So we study how it's been done in the past. We're very keen on doing it. Otherwise, you know, if we want to play, let's keep playing. But, you know, this is the thing you think. Because every election, this thing happens. If we want to stop it, we have to think of how to stop it. But perhaps before doing that, we need to all share the values of why it is important to stop it.
That's key.
That is the key thing.
Because it seems the people that do not understand
why it is important.
That's a reflection of the matters of voter education and awareness that we've been speaking to.
Well, in lieu of that, before we come up with ideas of how to stop it, we have laws that says that if you do this, there are consequences for it. Why are we not implementing those laws?
Because
that's why INEC is calling for, you know,
those special offenses. Because we value outcome over process. If we value process, we will say that after, I would like, for example, after elections, to have a review. And for us to say, in this election, how well did the police act? How well did INEC act? How well did the press act? How well did everybody act? And see, based on your performance, let us give you
like a post-mortem.
A post-mortem. A proper post-mortem with consequence.
Consequence.
Yes, to say that in this ward, this incident happened. Who was the policeman there that this thing happens under their nose?
They were trying to calm the people.
No, I'm not taking it personal.
No, I know. I'm just saying
they were
trying to ensure some level of civility between them and the people.
Well, I look forward to them writing a report to say this is what happened and this is what we did. When we start acting that way, again, process of reviewing things and the things having consequence, we will start making.
Now, this is where you now bring in the judiciary.
Yes, exactly. To see how they deal with matters as well. The consequence. So, when you think of process, for example, I've argued elsewhere, let me restate now that I, for example, believe that we're thinking of our electoral act and our laws. We should make it mandatory that dispute of election, which is a shame, shouldn't be happening, but anything dispute of election should be resolved before somebody is sworn in. So that you never swear somebody in, then the person is not sure of their mandate. There are normally 90 days between it. Surely, there's no dispute of something electoral that should not be resolved in those 90 days. So you don't swear in somebody and it still has a case in court. You should make it, in this case, maybe special tribunals might be necessary. You should make it rapid. And, it should be a very quick, commonsensical thing. You say, they stole my vote. Prove it. In or out. Goodbye. Done.
That is where the judiciary also needs
to get the act together. We all need to get the act together. We really all need to. If we want the system to work. But that if is a crucial thing. If we don't want it to work, because let's not forget that we say this thing and we act as if, it's some kind of accident or incident that is happening to us. In reality, there are people who benefit from our system not working. So we do have, people on the other side. I don't want to call them enemies before Veronica tells me to watch my language again.
No, of course, we have to understand that there are laws under which we operate. So
it's a process to me too. I get it. So, we have to know that some people who benefit from our system not working. But the key thing is to beat them. The good people, for goodness to triumph, good people have to win. Because as long as bad people win, evil will triumph. We have to look at it that way. So the good people really need to get out to say, for the benefit of my children and for the future, let us make sure we get the right process in play, we get the right programs, get the right people.
All right, let's quickly move over to Akure South, one of the key senatorial districts and areas that local governments that, INEC is saying we need to watch, where Ayo Zugbaku is a senior political correspondent, to bring us up to speed, right, with developments out of there. Ayo, I know that the process has begun in earnest, but talk to us the level of voter turnout as it is and how INEC is able to handle the processes and the people as we speak.
Veronica, let me give you a breakdown of the statistics of the Central Senatorial District, that is Ondo Central Senatorial District. Cathedral Sacred Heart Primary School here at the Cathedral. I told you earlier, we have 68 polling units in this cathedral. Now, what is happening here is that this is Akure South. If you check the numerical strength of the registered voters, we have over 300,000 registered voters in Akure South alone. Over 300,000 registered voters. Now, the people that came to collect their PVC, they're actually 244,000. Now, 244,000, if you have to do the mathematics, I went again after talking to you, I went to town, around town. I'm sure my engineers are able to upload that to you and you will see the visuals. And I can tell you safely, I can declare that there is voter apathy. There's voter apathy in Akure South, Akure South. Now, in the Central Senatorial District, we have Akure South, Akure North, we have Ondo Central, we have Ondo North, and we have Idori. All this makes Ondo Central Senatorial District, and altogether they have over 800,000 registered voters. I'm sure my cameraman should pan. The number of people here in the so-called 68 units, it's not so encouraging. have been going, and I also have members of civil society, observers from Lagos, my comrades from Lagos. I have Nelson, I have Benga Soloki and Honorable Kokola with me. Please, gentlemen, please come so that I can get from their own perspective. Let me start from Kokola Jai. Pope, you've been around. Where have you been to?
We've covered about 6 wards and Akure here. So, and of course, it's been peaceful, but unlike the previous elections, the turnout is not as massive as expected. But I take this venue, for instance. Normally, this place
lockdown. 68 polling units.
Yes, it's polling unit, and it will look as if there's a rally or carnival here. But we were surprised when we came in and we find the place
so scanty
this way. So
what
we're
do you think
pretty
is responsible for this trend?
Well, I can't lay my hands on anything specific, but I would say, there's a seeming apathy. Maybe maybe the political parties didn't do the appropriate mobilization. I don't know. But I just hope that whatever happens, people are here to vote, and there will be a result at the end of the day.
Okay. Ondo Central Senatorial District is the most densely populated senatorial district, and is meant to be, where you have voters and over 800,000 registered voters. If there's anybody to decide who will win this particular exercise, it's meant to be Ondo Central Senatorial District. But from the look of things, people are not turning out, and the turnout has not been encouraging, right from Obaile down to Alagbaka, GRA. We've seen what we've seen so far. I also have Comrade Benga Soloki.
Morning.
So, from your assessment, where have you been?
We've been around Akure South for now, but we have some of our colleagues also in other places who are also feeding us with reports. But unfortunately, I want to disagree with you. It's been a mixed show. We have been to so many units where we have seen a sizable number of people coming out to cast their votes.
Sizable
number. You understand? But in some other places, they are also been encouraging. So, but I would rather put the blame on the politicians, especially the political class, who have not really done extensive political education for the people. I mean, we should be able to convince. They should be able to convince the people who are supposed to, why they must vote for them, why they must come out on the day of election to cast their vote, to also educate them politically. Then also, the National Orientation Agency has a responsibility to also do extensive campaign advocacy for people to participate in elections. It is not just to say we have a scanty number of people, but we must also do our job as politicians, as politicians. So, I mean, politicians should do their. Some of us who are also in this. People that look, you must vote so that you will be able to determine who governs and how you are governed. Looking at it, and according to mixed feelings, but from what I've seen from my observation, I can tell you that if this will be the senatorial district to decide who becomes the next governor, it's almost nothing to write home about in terms of turnout. The polling unit behind me here, this particular polling unit, we have 850 registered voters, people that actually collected their PVC. 850. So you can see from the 850, this will tell you something. The number of people so far, and I expected, normally 4 years ago, when I got to this polling units, you had queues. You had people queuing up here to actually register and get accredited and vote properly. So the process is ongoing. The process is ongoing, but it's very, very slow, and I can say it's steady. So we don't have any complaints so far with the BVAS machine. It has been accrediting people, and it looks seamless. I think per voter, what you have here, let's use this man as a case study. He's going through the BVAS accreditation. He has shown his ID card now,
his voter card now, and he has been identified and going through the process of beavers, and we are looking at it. How long it's going to take? Oh, he has been identified. You can see that the beavers is actually quite fast. So they'll check his name from the register, and they're going to give him the ballot paper, and he will go to that cubicle there. Going to that cubicle there to vote proper. So the exercise here, although orderly, but we're talking about the turnouts that hopefully we'll still have some hours that people will come to register their franchise. This is Akure South Senatorial District, and this is Sacred Heart School. In Sacred Heart School, we have 68 polling units. We have 68 polling units, and in the polling units, we're expecting people to come out here to exercise their franchise. And what we've seen so far, and we spoke with observers. I also have Comrade Nelson Ekujimi, is also an observer. Nelson, let's speak with Nelson Ekujimi, regular election observer and Amoteco specialist. Nelson, hi.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Ondo State.
Okay, what have you seen so far? Where have you been?
Well, I've been to Akure South. Okay. And I've been to, I'm on my way now to Idori.
Okay, part of the central
yes. I've seen good turnout in some places, and in some places the turnout is still low. We expect, because the voting time is 2:30 p.m. except where people are more than they expected, and the law says they must all be accredited on the queue to vote. So we expect that it's still early in the day. We must commend INEC. In some polling units, they arrived as early as 6:45 a.m. We were all shocked. We woke up, opening our windows, and we saw INEC already setting up their...
in Akure?
In Akure South, yes. In Akure South, I can testify to that. So we expect that it has been peaceful so far. We can see security operatives on motorized patrols, as well as at polling stations. And we expect that the voters will still turn out, before the close of the process.
When you look at the level of security around, are you impressed?
I'm very, very impressed, yes. I'm very impressed because until this morning, you didn't notice the security presence, but they just emerged out of the blues. It's their security, technology, tactics. So with the security on ground, everybody is careful, just like in Edo. And we expect that the peace that has pervaded the election process since we started this morning, we hope and pray that it will endure till after the election and beyond.
Okay. I want to thank you, Comrade Nelson Ekujimi. Exercise has been adjourned to be peaceful so far, and we've seen around Akure South and Akure South and Akure North local governments. We are still getting information from Idori and Akure, on those centrals, beg your pardon. Those are the town and major cities that make the senatorial districts of the central senatorial district. I told you that we're still expecting people, and between now and 2:30 we'll be able to, conclude how the exercise actually went. From what we have seen in this polling unit, the turnout is not too encouraging.
All right, I would definitely get back to you. We see that the sun is scorching as it is, and although from what the observers have said, there are some improvement and encouraging turnout in some of the areas where you are, but we'll definitely keep tabs with you there. All right, just to bring you up to speed now, our viewers, that Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has cast his ballot at his hometown in Obenla in Ilaja local government. The governor voted at exactly 8:50 a.m. amidst cheers from his kinsmen. Now, while speaking with newsmen, Governor Aiyedatiwa commended officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission for arriving early at the polling units with voting materials. He asked residents of the state to be law-abiding and exercise their democratic rights peacefully. Interesting, and those are the visuals there of the governor casting his ballot. We have Olaide standing by to bring us up to speed. He was following the governor, and quickly tell us how the process went, and also bring us up to speed with if there were any issues where you are.
So, after about 40 minutes on the water, we got here at exactly 8.
All right, we'll definitely get back to Olaide Oyewole to bring us up to speed with the process in Ilaje, where the Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, actually cast his ballot at Benla there. Although he has cast his ballot, but Olaide will bring us up to speed with how the process went. The governor has commended the process, but then we also need to understand whatever else happened in the course of his casting his ballot. So let's get back to the studio. Prof, so many issues were brought up when we spoke with Ayo, and the observers, having divergent views about the level of turnout of voters here and there, and then we saw some also pockets of issues. But then let's get your perspective. Ayo said that where he is, rock, where a number of voters are supposed to be present, and even the fact that the senatorial district is supposed to be a major decider for the outcome of this election, but we are seeing the level of apathy so far. This is some concern that we had raised earlier on.
Yes, well, concern for you.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned it wasn't
It wasn't a concern.
That's true.
Yes, but that senatorial district accounts for about 18-20% of the total number of voters. And I have said so from what we have seen, it's not a crowd pushing this order. Even in the queue of the gender-confused man, it wasn't exactly, chunks of people. So, but that was predictable, as we've said before, because of the way the election campaign was conducted. So you don't expect that. The good thing is that, with a bit so far, a bit of delay, a bit of argument, so far it's been peaceful. We must admit that. And that is our takeaway. Let's hope we keep improving it. But above all, for the people of Ondo State, I just wish that whoever wins does something better than what they have now.
Now, in the next 5 years,
yes,
looking at this issue of apathy, do you think our democracy will get better or the other way around?
Well, when you say get better, I guess you mean more participation.
Yes.
Well, that's your own idea of better. Okay. If you want more...
Okay, what's your idea of better?
Well, just good governance. It doesn't mean more people voting. I even argue that if less people voted, it might be better, but that's me. Let's follow yours, because yours is the more popular view. I have my views, but I try to be as democratic as possible and be a safe minority is what I call myself. But if you want more people to participate, there are three things that assure people to participate. One is trust in the process.
Credibility.
Credibility of the process. 3 is governance. To know that, if we vote this way, we'll get the right person, and the right person does what we do. And the third thing is a safe rule of law, where people don't need to actually fight, where there can be exchange of ideas. Those are the 3 things that needs to make democracy more participative.
Interesting, and that's a fine place to leave the conversation with you, but we must say we've had an interesting time.
Very interesting.
With your interesting perspective.
Exactly, I learned a lot.
To issues. Professor Anthony Kila, Director, Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies. Thank you so much for your time.
Good being with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We take a break, but definitely we keep monitoring things coming out of Ondo State with regards to the governorship election. We're still here. Don't go anywhere.
Audio Jungle.